Huawei has a lot of advantages you don't have. Why don't you describe this competition? Are we really losing?
We should also acknowledge that Huawei is one of the most formidable technology companies the world has ever seen. Their semiconductor industry has double.
But, they're starting on second base and we're just going up to the batter's box. They've got a real advantage. And that means we need to think about.
They lead in science and technology in many different fields. This has completely flipped in the last half to a decade. We used to lead most of them. Now they lead most of them.
大家好，今天聊一个足以让美国科技圈警觉的问题。美国曾经想方设法限制中国科技发展，可如今中国 AI 正在迅速追赶，甚至已经在一些关键领域占据优势。本场访谈中，英伟达的 CEO 黄仁勋围绕中美 AI 竞争、芯片、开源模型以及人工智能生态展开了一场颇具冲击力的分析。过去几年，美国不断对中国实施芯片禁运、技术封锁和供应链限制，试图放慢中国科技发展的脚步。按照美国的设想，失去先进芯片和关键技术之后，中国 AI 的发展应该会被牢牢卡住。可现实却出现了一个耐人寻味的反转，限制没有让中国停下来，反而逼着中国加速建立自己的 AI 产业链。更值得注意的是，说出这些话的人并不是普通评论员，而是站在全球 AI 产业最前沿的科技巨头掌门人。黄仁勋不仅承认中国拥有巨大的能源、基础设施和人才优势，还直言中国在开源 AI 领域已经明显领先。值得思考的是，美国用尽各种手段限制中国，为什么中国 AI 反而越发展越快？如果美国继续把中国排除在自己的科技市场之外，最终被卡住的究竟是谁？更重要的是，当美国科技巨头都开始正视中国的速度，美国真的还能稳坐 AI 第一的位置吗？接下来让我们看看黄仁勋究竟说了什么。
You said something recently that was quite provocative. You said that China was winning the AI race, the AI competition. I know that you've got a powerful, competitor in Huawei. And Huawei has a lot of advantages you don't have. Why don't you describe this competition? Are we really losing?
It was a very good headline.
It was a great headline, yeah.
And it apparently caught a lot of attention. As you know, with headlines, the disclaimer part, the foundation part was left out of the headline. But the way to think about that is that, let me just handicap it right now. If you look at AI and go back to the first thing that we said, AI is a 5-layer cake. Let's just always simplify. It's not quite this simplistic, but let's simplify AI into a 5-layer cake. Energy, chips, infrastructure, models, and applications. Okay? And let's handicap it across from bottom to top. At the lowest level, energy, China has twice the amount of energy we have as a nation.
I want to ask about that.
Twice as much energy as we have as a nation, and our economy is larger than theirs. Makes no sense to me. We also know that one of the most important initiatives, one of the most important policies of this administration, and that was the first thing that President Trump said to me when we met, is, listen, we need to reindustrialize America. We need to onshore manufacturing again. We need to help America make things again. It's going to create jobs. That part of the economy has been offshored and completely gutted the United States. We need to bring that back, and he needs my help to do so. And so that entire sector of the economy is missing. And however, without energy, how do we build chip plants, computer system plants, and these AI data centers? We call them AI factories. We're building simultaneously 3 different types of factories in the United States: chip factories, supercomputer factories, and AI factories. They all require energy, every single one of them. Yeah. And so on the one hand, we want to reindustrialize the United States. How do you do that without energy? And so the fact that we vilified energy for so long President Trump sticking his neck out and taking it on the chin and helping the country realize that energy is necessary for our growth is one of one of the greatest things he's done right off the bat. And so now, at the energy level, back to that stack, we're, 50%. And they're growing straight up. We're kind of flat right now. And so, number one, energy. Number two, chips. We're generations ahead. We are generations ahead on chips. And I think everybody recognizes that. Number three, infrastructure. If you want to build a data center here in the United States, from breaking ground to standing up a AI supercomputer is probably about 3 years. They can build a hospital in a weekend. That's a real challenge. And so at the infrastructure layer, their velocity of building things, because they are builders, their velocity of building things is extraordinarily high. Now, really quickly on chips, we're several generations ahead, but don't be complacent. Remember, semiconductors is a manufacturing process. Anybody who thinks China can't manufacture is missing a big idea.
But China discounts energy costs for a chip company by 50%.
That's right.
They provide free transportation for employees to come out to the factory.
That's right.
I mean, you can't do that. I mean,
our energy cost is more expensive than theirs in the first place.
Absolutely.
And then they discounted 50%. And so we're probably call it 4 to 8 times the cost. Yeah.
So tell me, how do you feel about this great competition with China? I mean, the government is putting enormous resources underneath their champion. We don't do that in this country. How do you feel about that?
Well, before I get there, don't let me not answer that question. I'm dying to answer it. But let me handicap the next 2 layers. The model layer, United States frontier models, our frontier models are unquestionably world-class. We are probably, call it 6 months ahead. However, out of the 1.4 million models, most of them are open source. China is well ahead, way ahead on open source. Now, the reason why open source is so important is because without open source, startups can't thrive, university researchers can't do research, you can't teach AI, scientists can't use AI. Basically, all of the industry around your economy have no ability to fundamentally advance themselves unless you have open source. Without Linux, where would we be? Without Kubernetes, without PyTorch, all of these different types of technologies that made AI thrive are all open source. They are well ahead of us on open source. And then the layer above that, applications. If you were to do a poll of their society and ours, and you ask them, is AI likely to do more good than harm? They're going to say, in their case, 80% would say AI will do more good than harm. In our case, it'd be the other way around. And so that tells you something that's very, very important. Socially, we need to be careful not to describe AI in these science fiction movie ways of describing AI and causing people so much concern. We want to be concerned, but we also want to be practical. AI is about automation. And that area, I think that we need to be careful not to fall behind in the application and the diffusion of AI, because in the end, whoever applies the technology first and most wins that industrial revolution. As you know, electricity was invented in the UK, but the United States applied it faster, more broadly, and as a result, look where we are. And so we have to be a little mindful. And so anyways, I just handicapped that stack, okay? Yeah. And I don't think it's important when you're looking at AI not to see it as a holistic thing. It's really not about ChatGPT versus DeepSeek. You have to look at it across all of the stacks and across all of the industries. Does that make sense? It's a little bit more complicated than one simple answer,
But do you feel you have a level playing field up against China putting their resources under Huawei?
First of all, America's technology industry, just as our financial services industry, our military, our technology industry, we can all agree, are the mightiest in the world. I am part of one of the mightiest industries anyone in history has ever seen.
Yeah.
We have, going toe-to-toe against anyone, the American technology industry has nothing to fear. We are mighty, we're fast, we're inventive, we'll take anybody on. However, we can't concede the market to them. As you know, at the moment, NVIDIA has been banned from going to China. Not to mention, China has banned NVIDIA going to China. Yeah. And so I think we're the first company in history that has been banned on both sides. Whoever banned us going to China, them and China agree that NVIDIA should not go to. Now, of course, I'm being a little cute here, and I'll be a little bit more nuanced here in a second. But at the moment, we're simply not competing in China. Now, what's going on? We have conceded essentially the second largest AI market, the second largest technology market in the world.
I know.
China will. It's not. Somebody has said to me, "Well, yeah, okay. Well, we're not in China, but we're going to grow somewhere else. You're not going to replace China." It's just as the world wanting to sell to America and they want to export to America. If they don't export to America, you're not going to replace the United States. We are singular in the world. We are absolutely singular. And so in the case of China, we shouldn't concede the entire market to them. They're formidable, but conceding that entire market, we ought to go compete for it. Having said that, we should also acknowledge that Huawei is one of the most formidable technology companies the world has ever seen. They deserve, although they have a lot of support, whatever support they have, they deserve all of the respect that everybody ought to give them. We compete with this company. They're formidable. They're agile. They move incredibly fast. We said if the United States was not in China, China's AI industry would be set back.
Yeah.
Absolutely has not happened. As a result, their semiconductor industry has double. You know, the semiconductor industry in the West, around the world, is growing at 20-30% per year. Growing 20-30% per year compounded versus doubling every year compounded doesn't take long to catch up.
But, you know, they're starting on second base and we're just going up to the batter's box. You know, they've got a real advantage. And that means we need to think about this. Can I ask you, we, at the G20 summit, Li Keqiang, you know, the premier was there, and he was offering opportunities for countries to be participants with China on AI. We didn't even send a delegation. It doesn't feel like we're in the game.
They're smart about technology proliferation.
Yeah.
If we use 5G as an example, they realize 5G is technology that's also a platform, because on top of 5G, you build all kinds of services on top of it. Well, if you get there first, wherever you get first, if you get there first, just as NVIDIA, I was there 25 years first. And so I had, you know, for a long time, nobody paid me any never mind. So I had lots and lots of time to build up all these ecosystems and applications and relationships and ecosystems. And
yeah.
I connected all this stuff together in all these different fields of industry. I had 25 years to do it. In the case of Huawei with 5G, they were completely, through policy, completely isolated, people thought, in China. So they had 1 billion phone users all to themselves. It gave them the opportunity to grow scale They exported the technology to all of the countries of Belt and Road, and now there's AI Belt and Road. And so they'll definitely diffuse the Chinese technology as quickly as possible because they understand that the sooner you get there, the sooner you build the ecosystem on top, the sooner you become you become essential part, a dependent part of that ecosystem.
Tell me about the Chinese ecosystem they're trying to create. Obviously, it's deep and it's robust, and it has a physical as well as a technological and economic dimension. How do you look at that?
Take a step back again. Remember, I think it's like 9 out of the 10 top science and technology schools in the world are now in China. They lead in science and technology in many different fields. This has completely flipped in the last half to a decade. We used to lead most of them. Now they lead most of them. They have a large population of highly qualified students.
Absolutely.
Number one. Number two, 50% of the world's AI researchers are Chinese. Third, 70% of last year's AI patents are published by China. The ecosystem of AI in China is vibrant, rich, incredibly innovative. They work incredibly hard. This is a country with an enormous might. So that is the ecosystem of software developers. Now, that layer, as I just mentioned, the model and the application layer. All of these scientists, they're sitting at the model and the application layer. And now they're going to take that capability because the United States is no longer participating in China. We've left China. We're evacuated that market. We've conceded that market. And so now they've got to go build their own. So using these AI researchers, all of these incredible computer scientists that they have, their richness of software capability, and they're going to go build their own complete stack. Once they build that entire complete stack, they'll export it as quickly as you could imagine. And this is the world what we will find someday if we don't activate.
We'll be buyers, not sellers.
That's right.
回顾整场访谈，真正值得我们思考的，或许已经不是简单的中美 AI 谁领先这么一个问题，而是一个更大的变化，从能源到基础设施，再到芯片、模型和应用，中国正在形成一个越来越完整的 AI 产业体系。黄仁勋把 AI 拆成5个层面，而从他的分析来看，美国真正占优势的并不是所有环节。美国在先进芯片和前沿模型上依然拥有强大实力，但中国在能源供给、基础设施建设、开源生态、科研人才以及 AI 应用方面同样拥有非常突出的优势，尤其是开源领域，这一点更值得关注。过去很多人习惯认为美国掌握最先进的技术，中国只能追赶，但今天的现实正在发生变化。当美国试图把技术关在自己的围墙里，中国却在推动技术扩散、扩大应用、建立生态。这其实也是中美科技竞争最有意思的地方。美国可以限制一家公司，可以限制一款芯片，甚至可以限制一条供应链。可如果一个国家拥有庞大的市场、完整的制造业体系、数量庞大的工程师和科研人员，再加上快速建设基础设施的能力，那么这种封锁究竟还能维持多久？更值得玩味的是，黄仁勋自己也承认，中国是一个不能被轻易放弃的巨大市场，可美国却在不断退出中国市场，把机会让给本土企业和华为。问题来了，如果美国主动放弃全球最大的科技市场之一，那么最终究竟是谁失去了市场，谁又获得了成长空间？过去，美国习惯用技术领先来定义自己的优势，但真正的科技竞争从来不只是实验室里谁的参数更漂亮，而是谁能够把技术真正变成产业，变成生产力，变成普通人能够使用的产品。这也是中国最值得自豪的地方。中国不仅有科研人员，有工程师，有制造能力，更重要的是拥有一个能够迅速把技术落地的庞大市场。当 AI 进入工厂、交通、医疗、教育和各行各业之后，技术优势才真正开始转化为国家竞争力。 所以今天再看中美 AI 竞争，也许我们真正应该问的已经不是中国能不能追上美国，而是当中国在越来越多的环节建立自己的完整生态，美国还能靠哪些优势长期压制中国？当然，美国科技产业依然强大，英伟达、微软、谷歌等企业仍然拥有全球领先的技术和生态，这一点不能否认。但问题同样摆在美国面前，如果中国在能源、制造、基础设施、开源模型和应用落地上持续加速，而美国却不断把自己关进技术壁垒里，这场 AI 竞赛的终点究竟会在哪里？各位怎么看？美国的科技封锁到底是在拖慢中国，还是反过来逼出了一个更加完整、更加强大的中国 AI 产业？如果未来中国真的完成从芯片、模型到应用的全产业链突破，美国还拿什么来限制中国？欢迎把你的答案留在评论区。